Hi, this is Neil Walters with neilwalters.com. On the TV here we have Napoleon Hill, the famous author of the book Think and Grow Rich. And I want to talk to you today about a little section he has called Old Man If. And he basically says people are always looking for excuses. So here are 57 famous alibis. How many of these have you claimed? He says, well, if I didn't have a wife and a family, well, if I had enough pull, if I had the money, if I had a good education, if I had a job, if I had good health, if I only had the time, well, if times were better, if other people understood me, if conditions around me were only different, if I could live my life over again, if I did not fear what they would say, if I had been given a chance, if I now had a chance, if other people didn't have it in for me, if nothing happens to stop me, if I were only younger, if I could only do what I want, if I had been born rich, if I could meet the right people, if I had the talent that some people have, if I dared to assert myself, if I only had embraced past opportunities, if people didn't get on my nerves, if I didn't have to keep house and look after the children, if I could save some money, if the boss only appreciated me, if I only had somebody to help me, if my family understood me, if I lived in a bigger city, if I could just get started, if I were only free, if I had the personality of some people, if I weren't so fat, if my talents were known, if I could just get a break, if I could only get out of debt, if I hadn't failed, if I only knew how, if everybody didn't oppose me, if I didn't have so many worries, if I could only marry the right person, if I weren't so dumb, if my family were not so extravagant, if I were just sure of myself, if luck were not against me, if I had not been born under the wrong star, if it were not true that what is to be will be, if I did not have to work so hard, if I hadn't lost my money, if I lived in a different neighborhood, if I didn't have a past, if I only had a business of my own, if other people would just listen to me. So if, it can go on and on and on. You know, you probably have your ifs, and you've got to quit using those as excuses. Two examples I want to give you. One I believe was from Zig Ziglar. He said he went to an engagement where he was speaking from the platform, and he had two realtors, one on his left and one on his right. And he turned to the one on his left and he said, well, how's the realty business? And the guy said, well, he says, the big plant's closing right now and people are out of work. They're kind of afraid of their jobs and the realty market is just horrible. And he said, oh, okay, I understand. And they turned around to the realtor on his right and he said, well, how's the realty business right now? And he says, you know, it's just fantastic. He says the plant just closed and so people are moving around and they're selling their homes and new people are coming in and buying their homes and it's just a great opportunity, a great time to be a realtor. So what's the difference in these two people? They both lived in the same town, the same plant was closing, the same people were doing the same things, but it was all in the mind and the attitude of those two realtors. One chose to be successful and one basically chose to fail. So our mind, it's incredible what it can do if you just apply yourself and you believe what you want to believe, and then there's actually something in your mind where everything you hear everything that goes into your mind will help you then back up what you've already decided to believe. So you can actually decide what you want to believe, and then basically you can make it happen. So quit using all these excuses, and you need to move forward. Another example I heard this week was from a man who was involved in a marketing company, and he had failed in several companies, and then he found a new company, and he got associated with it, and he said this company just took off. He said they went international, and he said people around him were making all kinds of money, but he wasn't. So he finally realized it wasn't the company, it wasn't his circumstances, it was him. He had always blamed in the past, well, if my company had done better, then I would have done better. Or if I just had a better product to sell, then I would have done better. Or if my product was just priced right, then I would have done better. But now he was in the same company where people were succeeding phenomenally, and he found out that he was not succeeding. And he realized, duh, it must be me. And so he set out to change himself, his mind and his attitude, and then today he is one of the top earners in basically the world in the marketing industry. So Get rid of old man if that Napoleon calls, that old man if that's in your head. Get rid of all those ifs. You can do it. You should do it. Go catch your dreams and take action to make them happen. This is Neil Walters with neilwalters.com. I want you to go to my website and join my list, and I'll be able to send you a lot more information about such topics. neilwalters.com. We'll see you on the inside of my membership.